Hey there, Jim Hart back at you here today with another episode of State of the Stimulus. Today is April 20th, 2020, and today I want to talk to you about the proposal that as of last night, Sunday, April 19th, that's expected to go to the Senate for a vote today. I want to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a couple of the proposals that have been floated out there for stimulus bill round 4. And there's actually 2 of them that we're going to talk about here in today's video. So let's just jump right into this. So first of all, House Democrats and the White House are nearing an agreement on a proposed $450 billion stimulus package. This is actually, we're going to call this an interim stimulus bill. This is really kind of, I think people are calling it stimulus 3.5. That's because it doesn't really add any new programs to what's already in existence, but what it is going to do is add an additional $300 billion to the PPP loan program, the Payroll Protection Program. I've done a video about that up here if you want to check that out, how to apply, what you need to know for that program. So I'm not going to rehash that here. What I do want to tell you is I know a lot of people have applied for this program and have been told that the funding had run out. And as of Thursday of last week, the funding had run out. However, get your applications in because we're anticipating that that program is going to receive a new injection of funding to the tune of the $300 billion, as I just said. So you want to make sure you get your applications in. This is especially important if you're an independent contractor, a gig worker, self-employed person. If you remember, there were actually 2 deadlines, there were 2 dates that you could use to apply for this program initially, and the independent contractors, gig workers, self-employed people could not apply until the 2nd date. The problem with that was that with the 2nd date, almost all the funding was gone, and so most of those people got left out. So if you do qualify as an independent contractor, a gig worker, something like that, you want to make sure you get your application in as soon as possible. Also, it's very important that you have a relationship with your business bank so that you can go ahead and submit your application through them, because typically the business banks are working with their clients first and then the general public, so you want to make sure that you have a relationship with a business bank. If you don't have an EIN number and a business bank account, now is the time to go out and get one. In addition, this interim bill is going to provide an additional $50 billion to the SBA for their economic injury disaster loan program. This is another program that ran out of money. Some people were receiving grants from this to the tune, originally it was $10,000, then it switched to $1,000 per employee. So you want to make sure if you haven't applied for that program, that's another program you're going to want to apply to see if you can get a grant. And then finally, they're also going to be providing an additional $75 billion to hospitals, as well as $25 billion to testing for the coronavirus. So again, the Senate is scheduled to vote hopefully on this bill today, which means the House would vote tomorrow and then potentially go to the President by Wednesday. However, the big hiccup with this is the fact that we need all the members of Congress to be in person here in DC, not here in DC, I'm not in DC, but that all the voting members need to be present. Now they're talking about changing the rules in the House of Representatives so that people can vote by proxy, but to change the rules also requires an in-person vote. So really the thing that's going to be holding this up more than anything else is probably going to be the voting schedule. The second thing I want to talk to you about are the 2 proposals that have been floated for getting everyday Americans more money and more support in this time of crisis. And the first one is the proposal that's been talked about at great length. That's the $2,000 per month stimulus payment to all Americans. And basically the requirements for this is that you'd have to be over the age of 16. You'd have to make less than $130,000 if you are single, or $260,000 for a married couple. And for people with children, they would receive up to $500 per child, up to a maximum of 3 children. What's really important about this program is that it would provide these funds to people that may have been left out of the CARES Act. So people that were otherwise considered dependents on their parents' tax return or dependents on another adult's tax return would actually get a check as long as they were over the age of 16 and they met the other criteria to receive a payment under this bill. So that would include high school students, some college students, as well as disabled people who might be claimed as dependents. In addition, this program recognizes the fact that not everybody has a bank account. We've talked about that before, so they'd provide some alternative means to get people the money. And that could be done through obviously direct deposit, obviously checks, but also prepaid spending cards and other programs like PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, and programs of that sort. If you want more information on this program, I did a video over here. Also, you can check out Congressman Ro Khanna's website. I'll include a link down in the description below, as well as a link to the full bill. And remember, this is a proposal. This is not something that has gone through. I'll be honest, I don't necessarily anticipate that this is going to go through. Maybe something in modified form will go through, but I don't think it's going to go through in this form. But the proposal is down below if you want to learn more about this program. All right, the second program I want to talk about came up over the weekend, and this was from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. She introduced a Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act, and basically what this would do is it would call for a nationwide cancellation of rents and mortgage payments for at least 1 year or until the pandemic is over. And here are some of the details about that bill. It will include full rent payment forgiveness for your primary residence. This is important for your primary residence, and full mortgage payment forgiveness for your primary residence. There will be no accumulation of debt for homeowners or renters, and there will be no negative impact on your credit score or credit rating or rental history if you take the funds under this program. It would establish a relief fund for landlords and mortgage holders to cover their losses, and it would create an optional fund to finance the purchase of private rental properties to increase the availability of affordable housing. It would go retroactive to March 13th, 2020 and would last for 1 year unless extended by law. If you made payments during April, during this month, you will be reimbursed. What they do say is that there will be no double dipping allowed. That means if you're a renter but you also own a property somewhere, you can pick one property to take this benefit on. You can't do it on two. Also, it would not cover second homes, vacation properties, or other non-primary residences. The landlords and the mortgage companies, they're not going to be left out in the cold. They will be covered under a special fund that will be created and administered by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And so the lenders and landlords will be required to apply directly to HUD and follow the federal guidelines for fair lending and renting policies for 5 years. So again, there's going to be a link down below to Representative Omar's website where you can read more about this program, or you can read the proposed bill as well. And in case you missed it, here's another video from the State of the Stimulus for Friday. Much of the information there is still valid today, so you want to check that out. We'll see you in the next video.